Hi, my name is Goldman. I'm the director and founder of Goldman & Associates. Our firm has a primary focus on family law issues, so please subscribe to our channel. Today we're going to talk about something great on our channel. We're going to talk about ways to save money in your divorce. You know, a lot of people will call us, and I've had this done before, where a client will basically give their story, tell the lawyer. It's been myself on many occasions. You know, I've called a bunch of lawyers. I'm calling around. You know, and why do they do that? They can say that perhaps they're calling around because they want to find someone who shares their vision, and that's a perfectly legitimate reason to call around. But another popular reason is, I'm trying to save money. I want to find out, you know, who will do this for less. You have to understand one thing. There are ways that you can conserve money within the, you know, general boundaries of a divorce, but you have to understand that, you know, to some degree, a divorce is sort of like, you know, building a house. It's going to need a certain amount of lumber, a certain amount of concrete. There's going to be certain expenses that you're going to have. They may be bigger with a bigger house and smaller with a smaller house, but they're going to be there. And the costs and the expenditures associated with handling a divorce where there might be children and minor amount of property or debt or some hassling between you and the other spouse, you know, it's going to cost money. And there's no question about it. If you are going to hire the person who will quote you the smallest retainer, you're probably making a mistake. Why? Because think of it this way. It's a project. You've got to get from point A to point B, which is the finish line of the project. It's like you're driving to Cleveland. It's 180 miles from Detroit, and your car gets 18 miles per gallon. You know what that means? You need 10 gallons. You got to put 10 gallons in your tank. It's like the retainer. The retainer is going to cost a certain amount of money. If you put less, if you put 5 gallons, you won't make it to Cleveland. You'll run out of gas after Toledo. That's what's going to happen. So when you talk about, I want to get the best price for a divorce, well, what does that really mean? You want the lowest retainer? Good. Take a low retainer. You know what's going to happen? You're going to get a bill from that attorney quicker. You pay a higher retainer to someone else. That is to say, you put more money toward the project immediately. You don't get that second bill so fast. You may get an invoice, but it'll show you that you have credit, that kind of thing. So you've got to be very careful about it. Now, once you've picked your lawyer, you've paid your retainer, how do you save money to prevent a quick diminishment of the retainer? Well, I will tell you. I think one of the ways is you have to be judicious about communication. Communication is the main thing that lawyers sell. We don't sell TVs. We don't sell, you know, securities. We sell communication. We sell advice. That's communication, right? And that's the main thing that lawyers charge for. That advice might be on the phone. It might be by text. It might be by email. It could be by letter. But the lawyers are selling communication to the clients. Now, when you're in a divorce, sometimes there is a tendency to over-communicate with your lawyer. Why? You got no friends. Your ex took all the friends. You've got no family, so who are you going to call when your ex calls you a horrible name or says something terrible about you in front of the kids? You can call your lawyer. But you need to understand one thing. All that communication costs money. You're being charged for every single phone call, every single letter, every single item of communication, because that's what lawyers use to determine what they're going to do with the case, to determine what evidence is necessary to support the case. So if you call your lawyer and say, you know, she hit me, then the lawyer's going to need to, you know, get a copy of the police report, find out whether or not there's actually a case for domestic violence, which might impact custody. In other words, it may be very important. You have to ask yourself this question when you're trying to keep your costs down. I'm going to get billed for this communication. Am I okay with that? If what you have to communicate to your lawyer is so important that it is appropriate for you to pay for that consultation about that item, call her up. Talk to her about the problem. Give him a call. Tell him what happened. It's no problem. Expect to be billed for it, and you're okay with that. But if the communication that you're going to have is something that you later on don't want to be billed for, here's a great piece of advice. Keep your bill down. Don't have that communication. Have the non-significant communication with somebody else. Have it with, you know, a boyfriend, a girlfriend. Have it with, you know, a relative, the guy at the bar. Have that communication with a social worker or somebody else. But having that insignificant communication with lawyers, a very, very expensive luxury. And maybe you don't need that luxury. So that's number one. Be judicious about the communication. That'll keep your bill down. Number two, Figure out what's really important to you and fight about that. In a recent case, there was a client that was supposed to pay certain bills. He didn't pay them, it got late, and there was a late charge. It was like $22 late charge on a credit card. I had two groups of people with two groups of lawyers fighting over the $22 overcharge, the interest, late fee charge, whatever. And it was really silly. And our direction to our client was, look, you're right, other side should pay that, but you know what? This communication about that $22 is costing more than $22. Why would you do that? So figure out what's really important and argue about the things that are important. Resist the temptation to be right at an expense that's too great. Be right about something that makes financial sense. Don't be right about the things where it's completely impractical to fight about. There's a TV set, you want the TV set? All right, maybe a lawyer makes a call, can we have the TV set? But if the answer is no, you don't file motions over that TV set because those motions are going to cost more than the set. Go out and buy yourself a new one. It'll be better, it'll be lighter, it'll last longer, and it'll be a lot cheaper. So in other words, be careful about the things that you really, really care about. Only fight about those things that are really, really important to you. Take all the things that you don't care about or all the things that you agree on, put them aside. Spend your money with your lawyer only fighting on the things that are crucial to you. Custody, crucial. Obviously, it's very important. Maybe who stays in the marital home, those kind of things, very, very important. But stuff, don't fight about stuff. You'll get better stuff. You'll get newer stuff, and it'll be cheaper than fighting about it. Those are two very important things which I think will help you keep your bill down. If you have any questions about that, reach out. We'll be glad to help you out.